Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to do a preview of Spacers, a space adventure game published by Space Shrine. This is a 1 to 4 player sandbox style game. Let's go ahead down to the table here, and we're going to take a look at the game, just get a general idea how the game plays. Again, this is a prototype, so it's subject to components and rules are subject to change. And then we're going to come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so this is what a setup of Spacers might look like. Now, just a reminder, this is a prototype copy, so the components and some of the rules and stuff might be subject to change. So just know it's a prototype. This isn't a finished copy of the game. To start out the game, players are going to take turns placing out these tiles to create the universe that you're going to be playing in, with this supernova/star in the middle all the time. Now, throughout the game, you're going to be competing to gain fame. The person who gets 7 fame first wins. Now, in the game, there's a couple different ways that you can get fame. So one of them is going to be being a merchant, and being a merchant is going to involve these planets here. Now, these planets here, you can see this says supply. This is what the planet can supply, what you can buy. And down here is the demand, what the planet wants. If you sell goods from your hull, which is right here, your hold, you will gain 1,000 space bucks for each good you sell. Now, if one of those or more of them matches the demand good, you will also get a bonus 1,000 space bucks. The cool thing is if you sell at least 2 cubes that match the current demand of the planet in a single transaction, you will get a fame. So if I sell 2 red cubes right now, I will get a fame. Other ways that you can get fame throughout the game is through combat. If you destroy a ship in combat, you'll gain fame. Exploration, discarding 2 collected blip token grants for 1 fame. And you'll get these through your encounter deck right over here, through exploring, which we'll go over in a second, and events and encounters. So events in here, and this is the encounter deck over here. So going out to get your little blips so you could turn them in to get your fame, you're going to go through the events and encounter deck. Some of them will give you a fame, and completing missions over here will get you fame too. Once someone makes it to 7 fame, they win the game. Now, the game is going to go over 2 phases per round. One phase is going to be the player phases, where all the players get to take the turns, and the next phase is going to be the neutral phase. Each player gets to take 2 different actions, which they can be the same action, and then the neutral phase will go, and you have, this is going to be the merchant ship here. You'll have merchant ship actions, and then you're going to have hunter actions, which is going to be this ship right here. Now, at the start of the game, each of the ships are going to be docked into a planet, and just having them here shows that they're docked. The planets on the board here, so they correspond to the planets on here. So this planet is here, this blue planet is here. Once you go off, you get to follow these little lines here for travel through space. Now, the actions a player can choose is going to be move. If you move, so let's say we move this guy right here, you can go 1, 2, 3 spots. If you pass any loose cargo, which could be these cubes here out in space, you'll pick them up and put them in your hull. Other things you can do is you can attack other ships, and other ships, as long as they're within like 2 spaces away, you could attack them. So let's say this guy's right here, so you could attack him and shoot him as long as it's in line of sight. Now, if the ship's on the other side of a planet, whoops, I'm putting them off here. On the other side of a planet, you can't actually shoot them. So let's say for my first turn, I move 1, 2, 3. They're in line of sight now. I could shoot them. You're going to roll these dice, and if the attacker die is rolled is higher than the defender's die, they are going to take the difference in damage. And if they take the difference in damage, if you look at this little chart right here, you're going to have one of your little markers here on the hull. And let's say there was a 2 difference, so this will move down. You're going to get negative effects as you go down this. So here's going to be -1 dice, here's going to be -1 dice, -1 move, -2 dice on a roll, -1 move, and then explosion. And you'll notice over here, these merchant ships have the same, well, they have smaller hulls, but they also can be damaged and attacked. So the merchant and the hunter ship can be attacked. Certain of these mission cards here, or the event or encounter cards, either one of these decks here can sometimes have science actions. You can take a science action to roll a die, and you consult the table to be able to do different things. You can, now there's 2 different resources that you can't get from these planets or purchase at any point. They are blue cubes from the nebula, or see these pink asteroids things, they're pink resources from those asteroids. So you can mine asteroids and you can dredge nebulas. Nebulas are pretty dangerous, but you can, if I go into a nebula, there's movement rules and stuff for this and things that happen when you go in, but I can dredge a nebula and I will roll so I roll blue for this, green die for that, and whatever I roll, I'm going to subtract 3 from that roll. So this roll here would be 0, so I don't get any, but I can do that action twice. Now, there are a ton of actions that can occur for these different cards that you have. One of them could be another tinker action that can do different things. It just basically says tinker, you roll to resolve it. But the other one is you can do mining for in these asteroids. So if the ship is in this asteroid, you roll the die, you subtract 3, and that's the number of minerals you get. And there's different things you could do throughout the game to help out, like to make these rolls better. But that just gives you an idea on there. The other thing you can do is repair. You can spend 2 energy, which is sort of like a currency other than this in the game for do things. I can spend 2 energy and I can repair my hull by moving it up 1. I could also explore. You will go to this encounter deck, and this encounter deck actually hides these cards, so you can draw a card. So I'm going to explore. And when I do that, I'm going to look at the card with a title on there. And I get to pick what I want to do. I read this little out, and I want to either attack the vessel, agree to board, or fly away. And I'm trying to get these blip tokens so I can get fame. So I pick what I want to do, then I flip it over, and I resolve what I picked. And that's the encounters. If you're lucky enough, you'll get one of these little blip tokens, and you'll get to hold on to them. If you get 2 blip tokens, you can turn them in for a fame. Some of the cool stuff is going to be in this planet right here. If you go to this planet here, you could actually draw 3 random cubes, which can be blue or pink, from this bag. So you just draw 3 random cubes on there. You're going to pick 2 and put them in your hull. So that is a really nice action. There's no rolling of dice. What you get is random, but you're going to get something. So that's really cool. You can, like I said, we went over buying and selling cargo. When you buy the cargo, it says right here, you get 1,000 space bucks per cost per one of these cubes you won. If you sell them, you'll get 1,000 space bucks per thing you sell. If it's one of the colors of the good in demand, you will get an additional 1,000. And this will go away if you sell a demand good, and a new one will be drawn out. You can also find a mission card. You can draw 3 mission cards from that deck, pick one, and you can try to complete that in the future. You can basically repair your ship by spending energy for hull repairs. You could spend tech, get tech for each 1,000 space bucks. So you can actually buy this stuff on here, and it actually says what the cost of these different things are here. You can get a cargo pod for 2,000 space bucks. You can get a stabilizer for 2,000 space bucks. These things can be damaged. You get cannons. They're damaged. They're on this side with the frowny face. You can get extra thrusters to help with your move. So you can upgrade your ship as you go. And those guys will go in here. And I really like this cargo pod because when you start at the game, you only get like 2 things in your hold. So this will give you up to 4, which is really cool. So you can upgrade your ship as you go. The other thing cool about tech is when you're taking damage, you can pick the tech to be damaged instead of your hull. So it's sort of like it keeps you alive for a little longer if things happen. You can get damage from going through these asteroids. You can get damage from going through the nebulas. So you have to roll to see how much damage, if any, you're going to get from going through those. If you actually are lucky enough to blow up a ship, whatever ship, you'll get your fame, but whatever ship's there, their cargo hull will be dumped onto that space, so you can pick it up if you go through. And finally, you can pick up boost cards throughout the game. And the boost cards throughout the game, you could have up to 4, just help you out throughout the game with different things. Also, there's some planet features out here that people can take advantage of when they're on planets for different things. These actually planet features would be directly underneath these planets. So this casino, I just ran out of room. This casino would actually be available at this planet. This planet here would have this planet feature, and so on. So you could take advantage of those when you're at different locations. Finally, after every player's taken their 2 actions, the merchant or the neutral phase will happen. All right, so the merchant ship, basically what it's going to do is it's going to follow a specific route, which is going to be on here. It's actually going to try to chase goods on the board and gobble them up and stuff. So that's basically what the merchant ship's going to do. The hunter is aggressive. It can attack other ships, so you have to watch out for it. And when it's going to move towards ships to try to get them. You can, again, destroy the merchant or the hunter ship. During the neutral phase, these guys will actually respawn, so you can repeatedly attack these guys if you want throughout the game. They'll go back to full health when they respawn. If you get destroyed, you're going to go back to full health. You're going to lose anything you didn't complete, and you're going to respawn back on the board. And like I said, play will continue until someone gets to 7 points, and they will win the game. So whoever has 7 fame at the end wins, and that's it. Now this is a really, really brief overview of the game. We're going to go ahead back up to the table here. I'll give you my final thoughts. I had a lot of fun playing this game. Again, it's a prototype, so the components you saw are going to be subject to change, and they're not finalized, and the rules are not finalized either. So just keep that in mind. This is going to be a sandbox game where you basically get to do whatever you want going through this galaxy in a reasonable amount of time. So you're not going to spend like 6 or 7 hours playing this game. It's going to complete in a reasonable, like 2 hours time, 1 hour's time, depending on how you play. There's a lot of different strategies you can employ throughout the game, and the different encounters are unique and neat. There's a lot to this game. There's a lot of fun elements to this game. I'm really looking forward to the Kickstarter completing and seeing the final copy of this game, but just as a prototype, it's a game that I would play. It's a game that I really like, sandbox style games. I really like being able to choose what I want to do. Do I want to be a merchant? Do I want to be a marauder and attack the opponents and the different, the merchant or the predatory ship? I forget, yeah, the merchant or the other ship. Do I want to do exploration? Do I want to be like go out and mine for minerals to go ahead and sell those to different planets and get my fame that way? Lots of different ways that you can get victory in here. Lots of different ways that if an opponent's doing well, maybe you do want to go attack that opponent. Maybe that opponent needs to have a little bit of a ship explosion. So really fun, really well designed, mechanically sound game. I really liked it, my play of this, and I'm looking forward to playing it in the future. And that's my thoughts on Spacers, a space adventure game. Thank you for watching.